Hello, good people. In this episode, Frank and I chatted with April Thacker, a psychic medium and teacher. We talked about trauma healing, divine timing, the Hat Man, and her touring group of mediums called the Artistry of Mediumship. I'm Lauren Leon.
And I'm Defying Gravity.
We are a married couple learning how to develop our own intuition, and this is episode 68 of Clairvoyaging. Wayfeather Media presents Clairvoyaging.
What's going on?
Hi, friends.
What was today's rap about, Lauren?
Tacos.
I was rapping about tacos.
The taco shop.
Al Pastor.
Specifically.
Con Pina.
Oh, he's got some Cuban in him.
Sure. That's the extent of my Spanish right there.
Guys, I hope you're doing well on this fantastic day. It's April.
Happy April.
Yeah. Supposedly April is what?
It's April. Also the name of our guest.
You're right. Oh my God. I was like, what? Sorry, April. Yeah. You know what? I heard that April energy, just the month of April, is supposed to be like new and like fresh.
Well, according to some traditions,
we could use that.
April 1st is the actual astrological new year.
That's cool.
So, Happy New Year, everybody.
Hey, Frank.
Yeah.
Natalie R. bought us some coffees.
Natalie R.
Yeah.
Natalie, are you kidding me?
And we got a new Patreon member.
No, we didn't.
Yeah. Man Down and Tuesday is our new patron.
That's the user handle?
Yes.
Man Down and Tuesday.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
By the by, did you hear the preview of Seth's listener episode? His full episode is up on Patreon, and we know you're going to love it.
It's tasty.
Like, the clip that you heard is just one of really a bunch of fascinating stories.
The entire story is fantastic.
Yeah.
Seth's life journey is an absolute blast.
Yeah.
And like, we all can learn from it. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I really think it'll resonate with a lot of people. There's already some comments from patrons on there, just really appreciating his vulnerability and his honesty. And
it's a good one.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
Also, I want to tell you guys, for the rest of April, we're doing a 50% off promo for your first month's membership. So it's only $2 to join. $2 to join. What are you going to say?
That's so cheap. Come on and join us. Join the family. We're having fun.
Yeah. We got another one coming up too.
Yep,
another one. Wish is awesome. Just a reminder, we are actively fundraising for our documentary, and your support is so helpful.
Yeah.
Speaking of support, thank you to Melissa for your recent donation.
Melissa?
Yeah.
What's so?
Yeah,
what?
Melissa.
You gotta be kidding me. Thank you so much.
Yeah. We know things are tight right now.
Yes, they
eggs, am I right?
Eggs.
Why is it always eggs?
It's just the pulse of the economy.
No presh, my pretty little babies, but if you have some love to spare, hop on over to clairvoyaging.com/support and click on the link for the 501c3, which is Fractured Atlas. That's where we are fiscally sponsored.
Want to know a cool thing too?
What?
Even if you can't help, which is totally fine and understandable, we are set up to accept grants. Yeah, I'm going to throw that out there. If you or anybody you know is in the grant giving world, we are prepared to make some applications. So just let us know which direction we can fire that off in.
Yeah. Enough of the updates. Let's get to April.
It's
April Thacker, the psychic medium. She is a ball of fiery energy and so genuine and kind. We talked to her for over 2 hours.
We did.
So we have some extra stuff on our Patreon from this conversation.
That's right. I forgot.
Yeah. We've got some good stuff because we were like, okay, well, we can't have the longest conversation ever, but the extra stories are really interesting. So Also, guys, I want to give a quick trigger warning. We do get into some trauma stories around sexual abuse, suicide, and physical abuse. So I wanted to make sure to put a warning out there about those sensitive topics. The context is around the healing that April did. So I want to just thank her for being so honest and open and vulnerable in talking about those subjects.
Yeah, it's a big thing to do, to like go on a public platform and talk about that kind of thing.
Yeah,
to like anybody, but
it's a testament to the trauma healing that she did.
Yeah, and like it's a way for us all to grow through her growth, and that's the point.
That's the whole point.
So
you turn trauma into wisdom.
And April did that spectacularly.
Yeah. So let's get to her episode.
Let's do it.
Enjoy.
You got to say it now.
Roll the tape. April, thank you so much for joining us. We love people's backstories here on Clairvoyaging. So can you tell us how you got started and like when did all of this start happening for you? How'd you get here?
So since I was a little girl, I seen and sensed spirit. It actually started though, because looking back on this journey and realizing different things and synchronicities for me, I realized that I was near-death experience being born. And also I had a near-death experience as a young child as well, out in the winter, cold. That's a long story. But with both of those experiences, I remember seeing things. I remember seeing a crystal village, a big, long, how do I explain it? It looked like a bridge to me, and there were just people surrounded on both sides of me, and all I felt was love. So since then, and since I was a little girl, I've always sensed, seen spirit. They would visit me. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Hat Man.
Yes, we have.
We have. But if you don't mind, because some of our listeners may not be totally familiar with that, could you...
We've never talked about it on this show.
I don't think we have. Can you describe the Hat Man?
Yeah, we like spirit things.
The Hat Man, to me, I also called him the Watcher. He, in folk tales and in the different generations, he comes and visits people in the middle of the night and just watches over you. He wears a hat and a long trench coat. I'm not sure who he is or what he does. All I know is he scared the crap out of me as a child.
Yeah, my God.
Yeah, and I would tell my parents about all my visitations, not only from the Hat Man. And it's funny looking back on it now, because I would tell my parents and they would kind of brush it off. And now they know what I do, and they're fully supportive of me. And they're like, okay, now it makes sense. Right.
Wow.
So for me, it started as a child. I ended up shutting down my abilities because of the Hat Man, though. He scared me. So I ended up shutting down.
Just the reason why we all know about the Hat Man is because the Hat Man is a phenomenon that many people report seeing. And no one seems to know exactly what his purpose is. Maybe he just really enjoys hanging out. We don't know.
He just was the Watcher to me. And then I realized everybody was seeing the Hat Man, and I'm like, that's him. Oh my God. So I ended up posting a video on it on, TikTok, and it blew up. But for me, I wish that I could go back now, knowing what I do about spirit, and actually talk to this man and say, why did you scare the crap out of me? What did you want with me? Things like that. And also people told me that he looks like the poltergeist guy. I've never seen the poltergeist.
I haven't either.
Personally.
The poltergeist, hold on. I've seen it once, and now I'm getting my poltergeist and my exorcisms mixed up, so I probably shouldn't comment on that. Okay.
But those movies scared me at that age because of what I was seeing, so I never watched things like that, unless it was like Freddy Krueger, something like that.
Right. Yeah.
But growing up, I was really into anything spiritual. The Craft movie came out. I was all about that, all over it. Ghost Adventures, all these ghostly shows. I was just trying to figure out where I belonged, because I always had this sense like growing up as a teenager, my friends and I would have seances, like I've always been connected. So it's no surprise to any of my friends, like the work that I do, just because they've known me forever. When I was 14 and I met my husband, going on 20 years now, his mom and I got along very well. I absolutely love her. She's my mother-in-law. Her name's Christine, but she read tarot cards. And she was raised by gypsies. Her whole family was gypsies. So this is something that she had to learn. So I say spirit and divine timing, there's no joke between that, because I'm getting chills right now even talking about it. It was divine timing. Like spirit's like, okay, this is where you need to go. So
that's such an amazing connection.
Such an amazing connection. And after that, I was really, really into the tarot cards. But kids' life happens, so I had to kind of step back from things. I really started developing in mediumship, spiritualism, myself. I had to do a lot of self work, trauma healing, things like that. And you guys have probably heard a lot of other mediums and spiritualists have to say that.
Yes,
it's like 80% of our show. Yeah.
You have to work on yourself. So I ended up started working on myself, and I was watching Teresa Caputo, reading Tyler Henry's books, love Kim Russo, Laura Lynn Jackson, all of them. And I'm like, I would be watching the show and I would get images in my head before they would make the connection with the person, and I would start getting the same information. And I'm like, whoa. Okay, maybe it's not my ADHD that's like making my mind, go crazy. Yeah, diagnosed ADHD here. No surprise. I find a lot of psychics and mediums are.
Can I just say this is already unfair because you get way more out of your television subscriptions than most people, because every show is interactive for you if it's dealing with the spirit.
Yes, it really is. But then, going through my spiritual journey, I have learned to set boundaries and close off to spirit too. It's all about intention. And if I have an intention of, I kind of want to connect and see if I'm getting anything, at that time I didn't know boundaries, so I was connecting. But so after all that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start looking into like a metaphysical shop around me. My area is not huge in it. I think there's 2 within 40 minutes of me. I looked up and there was a $5 development circle class. And I'm like, oh, $5? Shh, I can do that.
Yeah.
So I went into this class. My mentor and teacher at the time, his name was Jim. He's amazing. It was just a little circle. Everybody was just very nice, kind, polite. And it's my first time doing it, but they throw you into the deep end. It's not, okay, we're going to teach you how to connect. Like what I teach now, it's not, I'm going to teach you how to connect. Just do it. Well,
oh boy. Yeah. You're like, what am I supposed to do?
I'm like, I'm so nervous, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing it. So I ended up just going with it. I'm like, okay, spirit, I trust you. And I ended up giving an amazing reading to a woman. It was her friend's son that came through. And the way that it came through was very violent, which was kind of bothersome to me. And I kept seeing images of a prison. And I kept seeing images of an inmate being beaten by guards.
Whoa.
And I kept seeing this man go to the hospital hooked up on life support, things like that, like very, very tragic. And I'm like, this had to make headlines somewhere. I'm seeing headlines, I'm seeing news, but I'm also seeing nothing being done or nothing to come out of it right now. Like I feel that energy. Come to find out, her friend's son, who was in prison, got beat by several different guards to the point of him being on life support, but he ended up passing later in the hospital.
Man,
Wow.
that's messed up.
And it was covered on the news, in the papers, and nothing had still been done about it.
Holy cow.
That was my first time.
Oh my God.
I was like, how the heck did I just
overwhelming? Yeah.
But it was amazing feeling. Like, oh my God, I'm not crazy. Like, this is validation for me because I'm an evidential medium. So I want that evidence. I want that validation. And it was such validation for me that right after that moment, I'm like, I'm obsessed. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. This is where all of this childhood trauma and all these ghostly pasts have led me.
Yeah. And then you just like that was it. That like, oh, I'm gonna start learning as much as I can, like that kind of thing. Do this professionally.
Everything. It's like, I used to do crafts. And instead of crafts, now I just exchanged it for classes and different, want to learn everything about everything. And the hard part about it was for me, was coming out of the mediumship closet, letting everyone know, like social media, Facebook, all my family, my friends, like, this is what I want to do. Because you're going to have judgment come at you.
Yeah.
With it. So for me, I was like, okay. And then even, my kids, I have to think about my kids and how their friends are going to react to this. Are they going to be made fun of, So there was a lot for me in order to come out of the mediumship closet, but it was the best thing I ever did. For me, it showed me who my true friends were, who my true friends aren't. It showed me that my family loves me for me and for what I do. And they have trust and belief in me. And just having that support, not only from my direct family, but my husband's family as well. And I have just met so many beautiful people along this journey that are now soul family to me.
That's so awesome. What a freeing thing too. I mean, you have to have so much, like you said, so much fear around being like, but guys, I do mediumship readings now, especially for people who didn't know. It's such an interesting transition.
Well, I mean, we've experienced something similar in that, at least in our own internalizing of concerns about judgment, in even just starting a podcast about the thing, not doing the thing itself. Right.
Yeah.
So it's, I'm certain I've coming out of the mediumship closet, I'm sure is just such a thing to overcome. But I'm going to use that as a jumping off point real quick, because I wanted to ask you, something that comes up a lot during our conversations is just that concept of being your true authentic self and how that aligns the rest of your life. Right. Mm-hmm. Which just seems like it's something that happened for you. It sounds like you might have had to shift your relationship with some people.
Oh yeah. Family. So this journey wasn't always easy. Coming out of the mediumship closet wasn't just about me doing mediumship. It was about me healing myself and finally coming out and saying, hey, I'm doing this. I did so much trauma and shadow work to the point I had a lot of family trauma. I had abuse in my life. I've had manipulation, family that are alcoholics. There's just a lot that I had to unfold and unravel for myself. And I had to let go of some relationships for a little while. And the ones that were really meant, to work out, we worked it out. And for me, just that healing opened up so many more doors for me. Being able to heal myself, but now I help heal others. So it's the most rewarding. I don't even want to call it a job because it doesn't feel like that to me. It's the most rewarding thing that I could do in my life to help give back to others, and just the gratitude that I feel in my heart for the love that I've received and the healing that I've received. It's immense. And I can't even explain it.
I have a question about your husband, because you said you've known your husband since you were 14. So, and married for 20 years. This has been quite a journey alongside him as well. Is he like, oh, April's going to do her thing? Or does he have any like inclination towards like, I want to learn some intuitive development, or like teach me something? Or is it like
you hit it the nail on the head the first statement that you made. He's like, oh, April's going to do anything and what she's doing.
Okay.
So like through it, he used to be scared of this type of work. And he's like, you better not bring no demons in my house or, bad energy. And I'm like, honey, I only deal with, the love, the light, the high frequency. But it's an amazing thing to watch because he used to be scared of it. His brother's also very, very mediumistic, psychic. So he's kind of grown up around it. So it's always freaked him out. But once I started actually getting into it, started doing readings, now he tells everybody, oh, my wife's the medium. My wife's the medium. Like, I'm like, can we not hang out with people he's just so proud of me that I know that he wants to tell everyone.
Yeah. How nice is that?
That's so sweet.
He's so amazing. His name's Roy, but I just absolutely love that man. Everything that he has supported me on along the way and through my self healing, he also went through self healing with me. We really have learned how to navigate the waters of emotions, I should say, because it's not always easy. And 20 plus year relationship, we've had to learn to navigate those waters and just how open and empathetic he is now, and seeing him get his like intuitive hits or feeling energy and spirit around. I'm like, oh yeah, it's rubbing off. It's definitely rubbing off.
That's fun. I mean, he's got to have, if his brother has that and his mom's into tarot, like, oh yeah, Roy has some stuff. He does.
And unfortunately, it comes out more like if he's under the influence of alcohol.
Oh my gosh.
He's drinking around his friends, he's like, oh, I'm like, babe, that's not ethical. Stop it.
Sometimes you got to turn off that brain a little bit to let the things in.
Oh my gosh, exactly. That's so
funny. I've heard some psychics be like, oh, I've had some of my best readings after a couple beers. And I'm sure it's just from turning off the brain just a little bit.
So ethically, I do not say do that. But
sure, if
you're with friends and family, it's going to happen. Or it's always happened. Like, and my friends know what I do. So they're like, oh, do you feel anything? And they like put, like, if I give them something, they're like, oh, what else do you see? I'm like, oh man, it started. But yeah. And it honestly, I feel like being under the influence of certain things don't inhibit a reading. I know a lot of mediums and psychics say that it can, but for me, it never really has. Everybody that I've read, but like I said, it's family, it's friends, it's people hanging out around a bonfire, while we're camping.
Never a client or anything like that.
Yeah, but showing up to meetings drunk.
Or going to a party. Hey, buddy, I'm a psychic, okay?
Do you want a reading?
Your grandpa told me something.
Hey, give me $10 and I'll say something cool.
Right? But for me, it's like, I'll say something, and if I don't want to read, I will set those boundaries. But if spirit starts stepping forward to me as soon as someone starts talking to me, I'm not going to hold that back.
Sure.
Like, I'm like, okay. And the funny thing about it is a lot of the times when I do connect, it's a grandfather and uncle that love to drink and have fun. And they're coming through at that exact moment.
They came to the party.
Yeah. So I feel like it's almost divine timing in a sense. Like maybe I can't read them through experience when I'm not drinking,
Right. Oh, that's funny.
That really just brought up something for me that we've talked to a lot of people recently about how they really connect deeply to their heritage or their ancestry, right? And like I'm always a little bit jealous of that because I am a mutt of many cultures, and I don't really like subscribe deeply to any particular ethnicity or culture, right? And the two that I do subscribe to the most are kind of at odds with each other. I'm very Scottish and I'm very Cuban, right? So like, well, what am I going to do? Like Santeria in a kilt? This doesn't make sense.
Hey,
So
I think it works.
maybe it does.
Yeah.
But like thinking about this in that sense, like you're saying, like, oh, you know, maybe like your grandfather showed up to the bar because they wanted to hang out too, right? That was their favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Doing stuff that your family members, your past family members, might have like participated in as almost a spiritual practice, not so much as a ritual, but that's like maybe a really cool practice to try out for those of us who don't really know how to tap into that.
Didn't you went on a solo camping trip? And
I did. And I was told that I was going to be like kind of in some way connected to my grandfather, who I didn't actually even know at the time. I asked later. He was an avid camper. I was like, oh, I didn't even know that. So
I'll see. Divine timing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you do this artistry of mediumship. Tell us about that.
So I do the Artistry of Mediumship tour. It's me with a group of mediums. We travel around the United States. We book events and venues, and we have our social media following come out to see us, or, you know, other tickets. But it's not about the money for us. The tickets are always such an amazing price. It's about, we want to show the art of mediumship, because every medium reads completely different. It's like an artistic drawing. And we want to showcase that life still continues after death. So we just did an event in Santa Cruz, California, Monterey area. And while we were there were 7 of us, 7 mediums. There were supposed to be 8, but somebody unfortunately couldn't make it. So there were 7 of us, and we had 5 events over 4 days. And
Whoa.
there were a bunch of different mediums. We went to the 418. I don't know if you guys have heard of that in Santa Cruz.
No.
So we did an event at the 418. It's an old cinema. And
Cool.
the really cool thing that we ended up doing that a lot of other mediums don't do during platform mediumship events, which that is, okay, spirit is making me feel like this. Can anyone take that in the audience?
Right.
And they'll raise their hands. Yes. So platform mediumship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we would do spirit led, and, you know, say, okay, who can take this? And then whoever we feel drawn to, we would read. But with the Artistry of Mediumship, we like to do linked readings and direct. So at the end of the event, we ended up saying, okay, we're going to do something fun. And Huggable Healer Hannah, you guys should totally have her on the show. She's actually, her and the guy that does Embrace Academy with me started Artistry of Mediumship. She's amazing.
Huggable
Healer Hannah.
Can't argue with that name.
Great. Yeah. Love it already.
She's amazing. I absolutely love her. She is somebody that I started following, and now we're best friends. We're soul family.
Oh, that's so cool.
And we're all here to support each other. It's not a competition. So during the event, Hannah decides to stand up and say, okay, so I have something fun that we can do. Let's go direct, and let's have our mediums all connect with the same spirit.
Ooh.
We weren't prepared, but I love it because I love it. So we ended up going direct, and I ended up connecting with a woman, and I kept seeing her mother standing. Like, I see them in my daydreamer, I like to call it. That's why I'm sacred dreamer. So I kept seeing her mother step forward. So I just started going and like talking about how all of her mom's belongings are packed up in boxes and how she wants them unpacked. And her husband was laughing, sitting in the seat going like this. And,
oh my gosh.
You know, but then I would read, and then another medium would read. And then another medium would read the same person, but it's the same spirit.
Yeah.
And I love that because we read as mediums, we read from life experiences.
Right.
So if we haven't had an experience in our life that the spirit is trying to bring forward, we can't really relate to it. And it can be a lot harder for us to get that message or that image out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes so
So
much sense.
when you connect with another medium, they may have that experience of farming, living and milking the cows, whatever it may be, but I don't have that experience. So that part, he's going to come out and say it through that medium instead of through me.
That is so awesome.
Wait, do you
You're
know?
like seeing, it's like turning like a, I don't know, like a multi-sided crystal or something.
Like a radio
you see all the
station.
different sides of it.
It's like turning a radio station channel and just getting like a better, I don't know, message.
Yeah, better.
Yeah.
You're all tuned to
It's
different.
like a bunch of different angles.
Can I throw out a different
frequencies.
analogy?
Go ahead.
Oh,
I'm scared.
you should be.
Go
I mean,
ahead.
you guys. I don't know if you know this, but you're a band. You're on tour. You all play different instruments.
Yeah.
And your guitarist doesn't play the bass at the same time. You can't do that. Someone else plays the bass for you.
Exactly.
And you're making a beautiful song.
Everyone's filling in the song.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's really, and you're literally on tour.
That
Exactly.
the person you were reading for must have had, that's such a unique experience. It was like 4 different mediums.
So we split. So there was 6 of us reading at the time.
Uh-huh.
And the first 3 mediums connected with a different spirit for somebody. And then us 3, the last 3, connected with the woman that I was talking about.
That's amazing.
Okay. Have you done that again, or is that just that once?
Oh, no, I love doing that. So every event, we just weren't prepared at the 418 event to do that until because we didn't know if we would have time. But Hannah's like, nope, we're doing it. But she is ADHD as well and squirrely, just like me. So I love it.
She felt it.
We also do this on TikTok, where we give free readings. There's a bunch of mediums and all of us that go live, and we will connect to the same spirit. Or then you have multiple spirits, like their whole family starts coming in.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Wow. You're hosting interventions from the other side.
Exactly. Sometimes it feels like it. If your family is loud and obnoxious, before they pass, they're going to be loud and obnoxious when they come through.
Yeah.
God, that's so funny.
Oh, that's fascinating. The other people, do they have different clairs from you, or are they receiving images, or are they like hearing things?
So
like,
a lot of
this particular, the mom packing up the bags, like that story, what were they getting?
Pretty much every one of us have every clair. A lot of times for me, smell doesn't come forward, but for me, I'm like, I don't know if I want to smell things.
Yeah.
Besides like cigarette
people,
smoke.
you don't want that there.
Yeah, or coffee or something. I'm like, so for me, I have boundaries with spirit. I'm like, I don't know about all that. But but yeah, everybody we get a lot of clairaudience. So that's clear hearing that comes forward. We get the clairvoyance, which is the vision, which was my daydreamer. The clairsentience, the feeling, and the claircog is just the knowing. For me personally, I can't speak for everybody else exactly how theirs works. But for me, I want to tell you how it started for me, because it's crazy how much it's changed. For me, when I would first start, I was getting a lot of clairvoyance, and that's where the name Sacred Dreamer came from. I would be getting a lot of visions, but my visions started off as, okay, say I tell you to imagine a red balloon. Can you imagine a red balloon in your mind's eye?
Mm-hmm.
It used to come in black and white for me.
Oh.
So a lot of the images when I first started were black and white, and they would go really fast, like a movie that would be on fast forward. Okay. So I would have to be like, oh, okay. And I would talk really, really quick. Through development and me expanding my gifts, it slowed down and turned to color now. So now I can see clear colors that come forward, and I can take a scene, like say you see a picture, okay, for example. You see a picture, but you see the close-up of the picture, like in your mind's eye. I can zoom out now. So I have taught myself how to zoom back and around the picture to see like other things that may be in this. And it's a memory or it's spirit showing me that memory, but now I have control over that. So for me, I get a lot of the clairvoyance. I'm very clairsentient, so I feel a lot.
Yeah.
I can feel passing. I can feel like if they had injuries to their shoulder, whatever it may be. I also am clairaudient. And okay, so I have all the clairs except for like clair smell. I don't like the smelling.
Yeah.
But the knowing as well, that's really opened up for me over the last year and a half. I get a lot. I call them downloads.
Okay. Can I ask you really quickly? Claire knowing, because we were just talking to my dad about this last night. He's trying to pay more attention to, he listens to our podcast. Hi, Dad.
Hey, Dad.
And
Hey, Dad.
he listens. So he's been trying to pay more attention to his intuition. And he's like, it just comes into my body. I just like know something. And I'm like, well, do you hear it? Or do you, and then you know that it's true? Or do you just, it just becomes part of you? He's like, oh, it just becomes part of me. So sometimes I kind of want to, because I think I don't know if I have, we're still working on it, but I don't know if I have the like knowing, or if I don't know if I know the difference between if I kind of like a word pops up in my brain and then I go, oh, it's this or something like that. That was a long road to ask you kind of the difference between clair-knowing and clairaudient, just for my knowledge.
So one, if it comes in clairaudiently, it can be in your own voice, in your head, and that can come in. I think the clairaudience and the claircognizance with the hearing and the knowing, I feel like they can go together a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Because, for example, think about you're standing there at a counter and you're washing dishes. Okay, you're washing these dishes and you're listening to music, and then all of a sudden you think about your grandmother, or a thought comes in your head that you think about her at that moment. That is claircognizance coming in. That's the knowing, because they're around you. They're saying, hey, hi, whatever, what's up, how you doing? I'm here with you, because you're not thinking about them in that moment, and they come in. Now, another example would be you're standing there washing dishes, but you hear your grandmother say your name.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the clairaudience. You could hear her in your head as her voice in your head, or you could hear her out loud, and knowing that that would be her. But it's very hard to do the claircog with the clairaudience, like how you were saying you don't know if it's clairaudience. I would say that's more claircognitive for you, because of the way that it's coming in.
Yeah. Okay.
It feels so hard to separate claircognizance with just ADD.
Right. And I thought I was crazy for the longest time.
Yeah.
And once I started sorting my files and putting them in drawers because of spirit helping me and making me realize that I'm not crazy. And once I learned to start setting boundaries with spirit, all that chatter stopped.
How do you do like a controlled flow? You say, homies, just one at a time. Like, is that what's up? I want to connect, but not everybody all the time, kind of thing.
So I set boundaries for myself. Yeah. Now, at the beginning, I didn't set these boundaries. I was not taught that. So through development, I had to learn my boundaries. It's so easy, you guys. It's not even funny how easy it is to set these boundaries, but we forget to do it. And, it's all about intention in that. So if I set an intention to close off to spirit, I either send them to my waiting room, is what I call it.
Oh, we've heard that. Lobby.
Or I imagine that a on and off sign, like open, closed, and then me locking a door. So like I tell everyone, you have to set these boundaries with spirit, but it could be anything that you want. You could imagine you closing an app on your phone and that being spirit, like, going away. I used to light candles and ask spirit to step forward. And then once I was done reading or, connecting, I would blow out the candles. But it's all about intention.
Right.
It's so funny because in my the questions we're asking kind of feels like one of the first 30 episodes of the show, but like it's
but
still,
I feel like we're kind of getting the scope a little clearer.
Yeah.
Because it's stuff that we've like learned about. There's learning it, but then there's also like implementing it, where we've been trying to like work on stuff or pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And as we pay attention, it's like, what is that?
So the like, oftentimes like when I was going through, so sometimes people are going to think I'm schizophrenic, but I guess that's like a thing people get accused of often. I haven't experienced this a lot lately, or at all. But when when I would go to sleep sometimes and I was super tired, I would be constantly woken up by, like, right as I was like entering like a sleep state, by what felt like someone looking at me and trying to talk to me, like in my mind's eye, and it would wake me up. I'd be like, stop. And it felt crazy. It was hard to manage. And like, since we, in the past, since we've been in this work, or this work adjacent, I've been like setting up more boundaries, and I'm realizing that has not happened to me at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh.
But that's why I was asking about this like trickle flow. Like, what do I set up? Do I set up a queue? And I'm like, okay, guys, take a number.
Just turn the faucet off.
Yeah.
Yeah. The faucet's off now, but I want the faucet back just a little bit in some kind of order. Yeah.
All you have to do is ask spirit. So we have free will. Spirit's not going to step in, and your guides aren't going to step in unless you ask. So writing a letter of intention, which is funny, we actually just did this with Embrace Spirit Academy. We just had them write letters to their guides, and they're already getting answers from their guides, and things are already happening, which is amazing. But you're definitely not schizophrenic, honey, because let me tell you, that used to happen to me too.
Okay. Like, so yeah. That's so interesting.
Like, I would be an adult hiding under my blanket, trying to cuddle up against my husband because I didn't want to wake him up because he would think I was crazy, even though now he knows what I do and he doesn't think I'm crazy. But like, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. It was so wild. It was wild to experience. I'm like, oh, wow, I'm really overtired. My brain is doing these things. And now I'm like, I don't think that was me. I think that was something else.
I like right as I'm falling asleep, sometimes hear, it's like I'm walking, I just walked into a conversation, and like I'll hear someone else's voice or something, and I'm like, what did I just miss?
So you're psychic or I'm psychic? Because I was literally just about to talk about this to you guys.
Oh, really?
Have you ever been laying in bed and you start hearing like music or people talking, like you feel like you're missing a whole conversation? So I love that you said that.
That's funny.
That's your clairaudience starting to come in. That's spirit trying to communicate with you, even though you think you're crazy. Because it's very easy to think that, like, okay, do I have tinnitus? Is there something going on in my ears? What's going on? But when it happens multiple times, that's just spirit trying to raise your vibration and try to get you to connect with spirit.
Oh, that's cool. Because then when I start paying attention, it goes away. And I'm like,
because we're trying too hard, right?
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like right as I'm falling asleep, I've just realized this recently where I'm like, and I've brought it up to you where I'm like, I like suddenly hear a different voice that's not mine, or like, maybe like two, it'll be like a lady talking. I hear like a couple of words and I'm like, what? And then like,
So when you are about to go to sleep and you're falling into that, that sleep, you open yourself more because you let go. So spirit has easier access to you because you're not setting up a boundary against them. You're more open. So that's why a lot of times things come in or you feel like somebody's watching you. You're not schizophrenic. It's just your energy's more open when you're like that. So, and I believe that every one of us have these abilities. It's just we forgot how to use them over all these different generations from our
Yeah.
family past. But I'll never forget when my clairaudience really started kicking in for me, because I was laying in bed and I pray every night. Whatever you want to call them, God, source, universe. Sometimes I call them Gus, God, universe, spirit. So
I love that
Yeah,
so much.
that is amazing.
That's right up my alley.
Gus. Oh my God. Okay.
so I talk to Gus,
Oh my
and I ask him, in my head, it's not out loud. Every night I talk, tell the spirit how grateful I am. If you have any messages for me. And all of a sudden I heard salsa, like
What?
that, real deep, not my voice. And I'm like looking
What
around, my husband's snoring in bed, salsa.
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 I have it wrote down. I think it's salsa or something in that category, but I looked it up and it felt like it was Indian heritage or something from that. And I looked it up and it said a light bringer.
Oh, what?
That's
and a
wild.
bunch of other stuff. So like saying that I'm connected with spirit, I'm a light bringer. It's something that was used in this culture and this heritage. And after that, I was shook because I'm like, salsa, what?
Yeah.
So looking it up looking it up and finding that out, I was like, okay, it's real. It's real. Because this was a deep man's voice. It was very loving. Salsa. I'm like, okay.
So do you think that was like a guide or who do you think that was?
Yes.
Or do you know now?
Yes. I feel like it was a guide. I feel like that they've been guiding me, and I feel like it's my guide, Henry, is what I call him.
Henry.
He's actually a guide I met during really deep meditation, to the point that he took me back. Remember how I was saying I had the NDEs?
Yes.
Near-death experience? He took me back to that, I don't know if it would be a city, what you would call it. It was so ethereal, so loving. But I was back on that bridge with him. And he walked me to the gates of it almost looked like an old castle that was made out of crystal. And he walked me to the gates. I remember seeing people on the side of me, and it almost felt like, and this is going to sound crazy, but it almost felt like there were doors on the side, like portals of people walking in and out. Like through this. But it's funny that we're bringing this up because when I seen Henry in my dream, he was a white deer.
Okay. That's cool.
That I could telepathically communicate with. And I laughed when he told me his name's Henry. I'm like, oh, that's simple. But here's actually an image of what I seen. Well, this showed up on my Pinterest, like literally right after my meditation. So I had to print it out.
That's awesome.
Oh
That's
my gosh.
So cool.
Can you send us that? We can put it on our Patreon or something.
Wait, hold on. That's giving, what does Harry Potter do?
Yeah. Expecto Patronum.
Yeah, this is Patronus. That's awesome. Or actually,
Patron? I just heard Patron.
Patron. That's Harry Potter's Patron. Shots. That's so rad. That's so beautiful. So you were talking about how when we were talking about how different mediums bring different things to when you're on tour with your band. They bring different things to or different clairs or different senses. They all have a different skill, and they are pulling from life experience.
Yeah.
And that's common for most mediums, probably.
I
want to ask you what life experiences is spirit using you for, if that makes sense.
Spirit just uses me, man. No, I'm just joking. Yeah. So my life experiences growing up, I had a very abusive mother. She was not just physically abusive, she was also very emotionally abusive. She really picked. Unfortunately, this also stemmed from her mother. So it was almost like a generational thing. My parents ended up splitting. when I was 7. My mom was very abusive to the point of making me bleed, ripping my hair out, things like
Gosh.
that. Unfortunately, she had a checkered past because of the way she was raised. She came over to the United States from Oxford, England, when she was 14. She was married off when she was 14 by her mother. So there was just a lot of trauma, a lot of pain. My dad, I I don't want to talk ill will of them because I love them. Like now today, like we have the best relationships, but it took a lot of work. It took a lot
Yeah.
of healing and growing from all sides, not just my
Yeah.
side. So I do want to give them respect in that. But my dad was the type of person, he cannot be alone. He has to have a woman in his life, someone to help take care of him. I've had a few stepmoms, didn't really connect with them, so I have experience within that. My dad ended up becoming an alcoholic. He was an alcoholic before I was born, and he got sober, and he became an alcoholic again over the years. So there's a lot of work that I've had to put through there. I had a lot of sexual trauma from an uncle of mine who unfortunately deserves to be in prison, but he's not. Um, and there was just a lot of experiences. I had to live with my grandmother when I was 14. It felt like everybody left me, if that makes sense. Like my brother, he's 7 years older than me. He moved to Wisconsin from Ohio. So like I felt like I had to raise myself.
Yeah.
Like even at my grandmother's house, I had to have common sense at such a young age. Um, And then I met my husband at the age of 14. I don't know how to explain it, but when they say love at first sight and like you have that instant connection, like I swear I've had a past with this man.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh my gosh.
The crazy thing is that we were both invited to dinner. I was dating a guy named Shane, and he was dating a girl named Nicole.
Shout out to Shane and Nicole.
They were brother and sister.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
yeah, so they were brother and sister. So we got invited to family dinner, and we sat across the table from each other, and it was instant. He tells
my
me even to this day, he's like, I just knew. He's like, she's the one. And
Oh.
yeah, it's so
Hold on.
amazing.
Do you think Shane and Nicole were ever like, what the hell just happened?
Oh yes, very much so. And it still hurts my heart. It still hurts my heart, but you know, Shane actually he went off to college at this time. He was going off to college. And we were still friends. Like even after I was dating Roy, he would come and pick me up for lunch and stuff, like if he was home on the weekend from college just to hang out. Because I don't know how like we got past everything, but we did, and we
Yeah.
just became friends after that. And unfortunately I haven't talked to him in a long time, but life be lifing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, like, there's just so many experiences with family, with alcoholism, drug issues, sexual SA, I must say, things like that. So I have a lot of healing that I had to do for myself.
Right.
Um,
But you know
and
what
thank
all that
God for
feels
my
like.
husband. And yes,
Yeah.
I know what all that feels like. And I'll tell you the really bad part of what made me. I moved out when I was 17, in with my
Mm.
husband. Um, my uncle, he ended up moving into my grandparents' house at the
The
time.
uncle?
The uncle, and I lived
Yeah.
with my grandparents,
Mm.
and he's an alcoholic. And if he drinks liquor, I don't know. It's like he turns into a completely different person. He's not a good person, anyways. To the point that I wasn't staying home because I felt uncomfortable. Even as a kid, I was very empathetic. I had this sense. I think spirit really helped me through my life with my common sense and like almost me having to take on the role of a parent for myself.
Yeah.
But so Roy ended up talking to him one day, and he said some very sexual, explicit things about me that he wanted to do to me.
Oh my God.
Know your audience, bro. What's wrong with you? What a weirdo.
So that right after it happened, he wanted to, of course, fight him, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he said, "We're getting your shit and we're leaving. You're moving."
Yeah. Wow.
Roy.
Roy to the rescue.
Roy to the rescue. He saved me. We've just made such an amazing life together. And like I said, it's all divinely connected. I mean, his mom being a gypsy with the tarot readings and his whole family being open to it. Like, yeah. So I believe that spirit really divinely guided me.
Dude, thank Gus.
Yes. Thank you, Gus. Oh my goodness. Right. And
I was going to say that same joke.
Were you really?
Yes.
Pizza.
Through my trauma, now I can help others. And, it's all about the way that we think about our lives. Because, I could be stuck in the past with all the negative.
I was going to say, look at you. You're not living out this narrative of your past at all. You're moving forward.
Oh, I broke that generational trauma. Oh, it's not even happening anymore. And like I said, I've done a lot of work for myself to get to the point that I am at now. And it's one of the hardest things I did. Yeah. And I was afraid I was going to hurt people because of my people pleasing side.
Mm-hmm.
But it was one of the best things I've ever did in my life. And I highly recommend it for everyone, even though it's hard.
You used the trauma and abuse that happened to you. And now it's like a tool in your toolkit for connecting to other people and helping them work through their stuff.
Exactly. And,
like hearing you talk about it, just, you can tell that you've done so much work because of the way it's like you don't have the attachment to it. Like you don't have the attachment to the story, and it's like those are things that happened, but that doesn't define me. And you're not like living into your story, which is such a huge part of trauma healing.
Oh yeah.
I learned Reiki at the beginning of this podcast. When we started it, it was like, let's see what this is all about. And then it became this huge trauma healing journey for both of us. Cause I was like, well, guess what? You gotta heal a bunch of shit if you want to.
A bunch of shit that you gotta heal.
Develop and grow and all that stuff. But
so at least you guys dug the shit together. Because a lot of people don't have that.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we're very, very fortunate.
Yeah, we recognize that. We're very grateful for each other's support.
That's beautiful.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. That's such a a story.
And, I feel like if my story can help others, then I'm open to saying it. Because like you said, I'm not attached to it. It's what molded me into what I am today, and I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
The lessons that we learn throughout our life, without those lessons, I wouldn't be where I am today, and I wouldn't be able to help others the way that I can today. So I'm grateful for the experiences, even the bad ones, because it brought me to here.
I totally, I relate to that so much because I've had I lost my brother at 22. Like my parents divorced when I was young. Like I experienced infertility and all these things that I'm like, if I can't use these experiences to help my friends or help people on our podcast, then it was all for nothing. I gotta at least like you said, it helps mold you or shape who you are, and you learn from those things.
Exactly. And I love who I am, and that's something else that I had to learn. It's not like an ego-ish love. I just love who I've become and how I can help others. So through the experience, I say even anything in tarot, mediumship, psychism, any spiritualist, anything, once you start walking into it and you open that door, your trauma healing is going to start. Because in order to connect with any of that, you have to work on yourself. And unfortunately, in the way society has raised a lot of us, we hold back our emotions, and then we don't know how to navigate those emotions. So learning to navigate it as an adult is something that we should have been taught as children.
Yeah.
Because a saying that I've heard, and I love this, from Mel Robbins, I absolutely love her.
Oh yeah, she's great.
She says that a lot of adults are still 8 years old in an adult body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
you look at say someone say there's a man and he gets upset at his wife, and he starts stomping around or throws her, the silent treatment. That's something an 8-year-old would do, but
Yeah.
that's because they weren't taught how to receive that emotion, sit in that emotion instead of just reacting on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just totally
Yeah.
the gateway of everything.
Yes. Working through it as it comes. We're
Yeah.
like always, because of what we've learned with our 7-year-old who's got big emotions. It's always like, okay, let's talk through this. Let's like work through this process, feel the emotions, and now let's figure out how to deal with it and process it,
And that's actually another thing for me. My son, my oldest, Jordan, he was diagnosed ADHD hyperactivity at the age of 5 with OCD tendencies.
Wow.
It was very hard as a mother to raise and to find the patience, because with raising a child like that, you have to find that patience within yourself.
Yes.
And unfortunately, throughout school, he's big football player, big into weightlifting, all this. Such a good kid, very smart, 4.2 GPA, like amazing. But he went through bullying at school,
Yeah.
and that was one of the hardest points of my life. That is one
Yeah.
of the points of my life that I can say, like, that wants to bring those emotions up for me just because of how hard it was. And this was only 2 years ago for me. He went through suicidal tendencies. He tried to act on it at one point. So going through that as well, and still having faith, like with spirit, with Gus.
Yeah.
I just remember praying and him getting me through it. And now, since this was middle school, and now since he's been in high school, I'm telling you, it's complete 360. He's so
Wow.
smart. He's, athletic. He's got all these friends, but that experience taught me how easy it could be gone for
Yeah.
me.
So let me ask you. This is going to sound like I'm going into parenting advice, but there's a bigger story here. How do you manage? So when you have a child who's getting bullied, right? You're trying to coach them through that, but the thing that's occurring to them is still very active, right? So you're basically get to only coach from on the victim side, and you have a severe lack of control, which is, like, as a parent, one of the most frustrating things that you can deal with. Because how did you work through that specifically? And for people who don't have children, this is about controlling things that are not in your control through a child.
Yeah.
So, well, police report one. There's a few of those.
Very, very earthy advice. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, police report. Don't fight the principal, even though you want to. I'm telling you right now, like, oh my gosh. And it was her son that was doing it to my son, by the way.
No.
So her son and a group of
nightmare.
boys. So it was a nightmare. That's why there was police reports involved.
Yeah.
That's why there was almost me wanting to fight her in front of the cops in the gymnasium. But I kept my cool because I had to be there for my son. So those old high school me taking my shoes off and my earrings off was gone.
Getting ready. Yeah. Square up. Square up.
Square up. The cop was laughing because I'm like, you really gonna let her do this? But anyways, just being there for him.
Wow.
Just being there for him. Having patience with him. Not trying, I hate to say it, but not like overly parenting, because I found out once I would start like giving my advice or, this needs to happen and that just gave him more anxiety. So just knowing that I love him, that I'm here for him, that we're going to get through this together, no matter what. And giving him space, even though it's one of the hardest things that I could have done at that time, because leaving him alone scared the scared everything out of me. Like
Yeah.
that was my biggest fear. And finding that trust again within him. But once I started giving him the space and stopped dwelling on the past or just, and honestly, I took him out of therapy. I had him in therapy. He did not want to be in therapy whatsoever. He was seeing a few different therapists. He didn't want to talk, didn't want to communicate. For him, what worked for him was taking him out of it and not making him forced to do it and
Yeah.
knowing that I'm here for him. He started really getting into athletics and lifting and his grades. So he found other things for him to really help him on his path. And I'm going to be honest, his football coach, Mr. Griswold, is one of the best people I have found for him in my life. He really helped him through all of the emotions that he was trying to hide and really gave him what like a team is about, and really just helped him mentally through it. Like he has, I forget what the class is called, but they go through all the emotions and how to control and how to navigate the waters of emotions. So
Wow.
that
Oh my
really, yeah, he helped save my son, honestly.
That's
Whoa.
amazing.
hmm
Mr. Griswold might be bad at taking his family on vacation, but he's a great coach.
Oh boy. Oh, good grief, Frank.
You can't just say Griswold in my space and not have me think of
Clark.
Clark.
I'm sorry for all that you went through. That's really, really challenging and like
Yeah.
a nightmare. And
Yeah.
thank you again for sharing that. That's
If I
what
can
an
help
incredible
anyone.
thing. Yeah.
So if I
Yeah.
can distill a little bit and tell me if I'm taking this is the wrong takeaway. It seems like, because I'm trying to relate this to people who have kids, but also people, really what it comes down to is it seems like, especially when kids are being bullied or when you are bullying yourself over the circumstances, it comes back to that narrative, right? You're having people try and tell you who you are.
Exactly.
And then also like, it was really interesting when you said you took him out of therapy, because at a certain point you have this hyper focus and it becomes your entire story. You're focusing on it so much.
Yeah.
When like
Exactly.
a couple of jerks at school are just it's just one scenario and that's not even real life, right?
Yeah.
You got your son into a different environment where like this is a completely different story. This is a completely different narrative and has nothing to do with those people.
Exactly.
And now he's getting to like kind of chase his own story, writing the way he wants.
And
well,
that
and come
idea.
to find out, they're on the football team with him now too.
Oh.
Wait,
So there has
Now?
been, yeah. So
Oh.
even when, but he has also found his voice and stood up for himself. He's 6'2". He weighs
Oh.
like 215 pounds. He's all
Oh my gosh.
muscle,
holy cow!
but he's only 16, and he worries about hurting somebody. Like he's like, Mom, I
Oh.
know that I could protect myself, but I don't want to hurt anybody. And I'm like, I love you, and you are most definitely my son because, yeah.
What a guy!
He's
What
a
a
real,
guy!
he's a real combo of you and Roy. I mean, from everything I know about Roy as well, like what a family.
Here's Roy.
Look at Roy.
Yes.
Look at that smile. That's $1 million smile right there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Look at
yeah,
you.
that's my
Look at
honey.
you guys.
That was a little while ago, but yeah.
That's awesome.
You guys are so cute. I love that. I was going to say also that idea of, it's just because someone says something about you or because you say something about yourself doesn't make it true.
Right. I mean, the real lesson in all that is that like whether your bullies are external or internal, they're still like defining you in a way you don't want.
Yeah.
And
that's
that,
like a huge
that's even worse when you have the internal bullies as well on top of it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's
right.
Oh, God.
Right.
You have to rewire that thought, rewire that brain. Negative thoughts bring on negativity in your life. And I've had to learn that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because also there is something to like, I don't know how to vocalize it properly, but like you need to, I don't want to say you can't like run away from your problems, right?
No.
But you can create new environments where you actually thrive instead of are just surviving, right? And that's seems what happened here.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes a few.
You have to look at it too, from every perspective, not just the negative one. So
Right.
for me, that's how my brain works. Like, okay, this happened, but what positivity came out of it? What growth came out of it? And I think that really helps me with just navigating life and my emotions because I can look at all the different perspectives.
Right.
I mean, look what growth came out of your traumas. Like you're an amazing person out there helping people now. It's just more tools. If you get through the pain, you get more tools in your toolkit.
Exactly.
How cool is that, everybody?
Man. I wasn't expecting such a deep trauma healing conversation,
it's
April.
Part of it. It's part of it.
It's part of it.
Love it.
And this is something that I honestly want to help others with. So I'm becoming a spiritual life coach at the moment. Learning. So I'm going to be certified in that soon. And that's just something that I want to offer because I want people to have a safe space to talk about it and not be judged.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Well, while we're at it, why don't you give everybody your plugs and tell them where to find you. And then I'm going to hold on to you for a second, just so I can hear that NDE story. And we're kind of over time, but I want to hear the story anyway. And maybe I'll release it like separately or something. I don't know if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
We have a Patreon. We like to put little extra bits on there. So
I love it. So you can find me. I'm on TikTok. That's actually how this all started. For me with and now I have a website, all this. It was during COVID. I wasn't really into TikTok before COVID. And then I met so many amazing people through TikTok. Like I said, they're my soul family now. I mean, I travel across the country for these people. So I don't even do that for my own family. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so TikTok is where it started. And I go on there and I do free readings. A lot of times there's me and other mediums or psychics on there, tarot readers. So that's where I started, and that's where you can find me. Because a lot of the other social media, like Insta and all that, it's really hard to go live from there and like with multiple people. And I like to bring people up in the box when I give them free readings, so I can hear your voice, I can see you, we can really connect. I'm also a teacher through Embrace Spirit Academy. I'm the co-owner of it with my good friend, psychic medium Reggie. He's amazing. He's my tech guy. Just saying, you said that he's my tech guy.
The buttons guy.
Yes. So we have Embrace Spirit Academy. We offer psychic mediumship development because you can be psychic and not a medium, but you cannot be a medium and not be a psychic. You have to learn all that. So there's development Sundays and Tuesdays. And then we also have sound bowl healings, meditations on Wednesdays with our good friend Rose. She's also a part of the Artistry of Mediumship Tour as well. And then I have my website, which is sacreddreamer.simdef.com, which is on your guys' links.
Cool. Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes.
Great.
And know what? I have an event coming up. Let me just make sure of the date because this was just announced and it's free. So if anyone is wanting to develop their psychic mediumship abilities, we're having an open house through Embrace Academy. So it's absolutely free. Come in and check it out. I know a lot of people have a lot of fear coming into development because of judgment. We make sure that it's a judgment-free space, and we love no's. Get a no, yes, because that's going to teach you that you're not in the flow with spirit, and it's going to teach you to get those yeses. So we're just really big on just feeling safe and feeling not judged and just having fun with exercises and other things. So it is going to be April 26th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's free. You can find all the links in my bio and TikTok and through here, I think, right?
Yes.
Is that in person or on Zoom or?
That's on Zoom.
Cool.
So that's how all of our classes are held is over Zoom. And, we're just expanding. We just had our 1-year anniversary with it, and
congratulations.
It's been going so amazing. And I couldn't be happier where I am in life and so grateful just to help other people and see how far they've come along their journeys, and watching that unfold in front of my eyes is amazing.
April, Thank you so much for coming and talking to us today. This was so much fun.
Thank you so much.
It was amazing. You guys are so sweet.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.
Bye. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening. Visit clairvoyaging.com for merchandise or to access free resources to help you on your spiritual journey. Subscribe to our Patreon for more content or join for free to chat with us. Clairvoyaging is a fiscally sponsored project of Fractured Atlas, a 501c3 charity. Make a tax-deductible donation to support our mission to foster understanding, respect, and curiosity for diverse spiritual belief systems. Clairvoyaging is a production of Wayfeather Media.